Hey guys, today it's all about food photography and fun with food. We're going to do a floating sandwich, a deconstructed type sandwich, so we can create an image like this. I think that looks awesome. So if you want to learn how to do that and you want some tips and tricks on how to do it, stick around. This will be a fun one. Okay, now we're in the studio here and I've partially got things set up because I don't think you want to sit through me going through wrapping wires around this endlessly. Very boring. Let's get right to the point. Let's have a look. I'm using two light stands. I'm using wire. You can use wire, string, fishing line, whatever you want across. We're going to deal with it later in Photoshop. So we're going to have to take a photo with our complete setup. And then at the end, once we've taken this apart, we need another photo. So our camera has to come in here, shooting that way on a tripod so it doesn't move. I need a photo of the background and the set without this in, and I need it with it in, and you'll see why once we get to Photoshop. But anyways, with our setup here, I've got two sandbags, one on each stand, so I can pull a little tension between them and I can adjust the tension on the wire that way. It's a lot easier than trying to adjust each wire because this is actually one solid piece because I didn't want to cut it. Let's have a close look. You can see I'm using the makeup sponges there just to represent as a placeholder for where the food is going to go, so you can see the different layers we've got going on. Now, if you want to create a wider distance between the wire because it's not wide enough to support your food, then you can use something like a makeup sponge between the two wires, and then that'll spread your wire out a little bit because there's some give to it. That'll spread the wire out and it'll support your food better. So you can use whatever you want to spread those wires, piece of wood even. So anyways, that's a basic setup. Now I've got a wood background and I've got some old wallpaper in the back because I want that warm tone to go with our sandwich. Now our light is a 24 by 36 inch softbox. Normally, if you follow me for food, I do a lot of backlighting and side lighting for food. This time though, I need to bring that light more forward. I'll be probably about a 45-degree angle so I can get some light in between each of those layers because I don't want them heavily shadowed. I will use, and if you follow this channel, you see this a lot, my 11 by 16 piece of foam core will be standing on this side to bounce some light back in on that sandwich to lighten out the shadows because there's no light here. I could use a studio strobe on this side as well, but I'm simply going to use my trusty little bounce card to show you. You only need one light. We can do things on a budget. So that's the basic setup. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump time forward again, and I'm going to have all the sandwich pieces in place, ready to go. Because again, I don't think you want to see me sit and struggle trying to put all these different layers on. Now, one thing I have learned when doing this, if you start building from top to bottom, that's cool. But if the top piece you go to put it on falls, it'll wipe out everything below. I tend to build from the top down, so if something falls, typically it won't do anything and everything else will stay in place. Just something for you to be aware of when you're creating your own build. So let's time jump right now. Well, there's my little setup. You can have a little closer look at it. Now I'm already having some problems with the cheese. Now a trick you can do with the cheese is if you get like a little piece of cardboard underneath, then it'll stop it wanting to sag so much. I had the cheese very, very cold, so I had to work quickly with it. I've already got the photo I needed. The camera's right here. It's a Nikon D800 90mm lens, my go-to, my favorite. But that's a little setup. That's how it looks. You simply take a photo, then you take all this apart without moving your set. So if I had things underneath here, you don't move that. You only move all the wiring and this. You want the background and the table. I'll show you in Photoshop as to why. But that's it. As I said, I saved you the painstaking part of putting this all on the wire because it did fall on me a couple of times and I had to make sure I wiped up the table, especially those darn tomatoes. I cut them a little thick so they were a little heavy. You can see I've got some tape going on the side here because that way I could add some additional tension to the wire and I could hold the back wire up a bit so I got a bit of a forward tilt. As I say, my cheese is looking a little on the sad side right now, but that gives you the general look of how to do it. You can do this with everything. But anyways, let's jump into Photoshop and I'll show you how to take care of it. You can see we've got both copies in here now. I need to make sure I'm on the layer with the wires. I need to just zoom in here on the wire and then come over here on the left-hand side, grab your erase tool, and then look at that. I simply have to erase the wire. That's how easy it is. I just need to come along and do that for each. I don't think you want to see me sit and go through and do each one of these individual wires, but that's all it takes to do it. Simply put the two layers together, make sure the wire layer's on top of your background, use your erase tool, you're done. All All right, that's how easy it is in Photoshop to do. It's not difficult at all. It's just a bit time consuming getting rid of all those little wires. Now, the hardest part that I found in doing this, and I always find in doing it, is getting the food on the wires. One wire wants to fall. You can see I've got some tape on the side, so I could lift a wire in one direction and hold it in place with the tape, so I got a bit more of a forward tilt. I cut the tomatoes a little thick, so I was struggling with them. They did fall off on me a couple of times. And the cheese, you can see how sad that is. But as I say, a little bit of cardboard or something underneath will help support that. But overall, I think the final image, I was quite pleased with it. So you can do this with any kind of sandwich, burgers, whatever you want, and create a different style look to your image. So anyways, that's it for this one. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you're aware when I post new videos like this. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help me out. Thanks. So, until the next time.